Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
We're taking a look at City Skyline. This time it's a board game. So apparently City Skylines was originally a video game, but I don't know anything about that. However, this game is pretty cool.
We're going to be cooperatively building a city using these crazy looking polyominoes that have tons of different ways that they can connect. You're building, residential and commercial and industrial buildings that all interact with each other. And we're trying to do it efficiently while making everyone in the city happy and keeping all the pollution and traffic down.
Yeah, and crime.
Yeah, and crime.
And making sure that the jobs, there's jobs, and taking care of people's utilities. There's a lot more to the city, Aaron, than just pollution and traffic.
If it wasn't enough to have pollution and traffic and crime and a budget and these different utilities, you also have to keep people happy. Like, it's never reinforced enough that I don't want to go into local government.
With that long list of these different tracks we're keeping track of, you may think that this game is really complicated. And honestly, it's surprisingly simple. It's all card play. You have all these cards that will, when you play them, they will all affect these tracks a little bit, and they will cause you to place a building out, and you're trying to fit the building in. And they also, some of them have like special effects, like, ooh, if I place this one next to or near a park, we will drop this track down a little bit, or we'll get more money, or this one costs 3, but it'll, give us 3 more power, so that's worth it. But the game is surprisingly difficult at first, because if you read through the rules, but when I say difficult, I don't mean complexity-wise. I mean difficult to win. So there's like an intro game, and then there's a couple of different modules where there's like, this is just how the game works. And then you could add special buildings. You could add special player powers. You could add cards that help affect the tracks but don't cause buildings.
Policy
you could add
cards.
Events, which are pretty negative. But it's surprising how my very first playthrough of the basic game, I was like, man, this is tough. How do you ever win? But when you add those extra things, especially the special player powers and you just said the name, policies, the game actually becomes easier to succeed at, which is crazy.
And to succeed, you're trying to make everyone happy, like we said, so you can get through the game and people like survive.
That could be hard enough sometimes just to get through the game.
Yeah,
too.
But but people are like barely happy, so you actually still lose, even though you've made it through. You've figured out the puzzle of fitting things on there and not running out of money or maxing out one of the tracks where you cannot go any further and then you can't spend it, or if happiness falls below 5 in a round, then you just instantly lose. So you gotta keep them moderately happy, but to really win the game you have to keep people really happy through multiple rounds as you're expanding into new territories and flipping them over, and then you're like, okay, well now we have more area to expand into, let's build more buildings, let's pull off those combos of putting buildings in zones that have police or have parks or have whatever that card is requesting. It really helps perk things up. Even if it's just like, okay, I played this and it's near a park, so now we get extra cash, or we get some pollution gone. Now we can play other cards that use pollution, but will increase other things. It's a very, very much a balancing act.
It seems like the biggest mechanic, or not biggest mechanic, but the biggest thing that this game teaches you as a cooperative player is order of operations. It's like, well, we don't have enough money for this, but if I do this, this will give me more money, but only if it's next to that. Now you have that, but you can't play that because we're maxed out on crime. So we need to play a police station. We need to play a police station, then that card, then this card. However, I just told us that we need to play these in reverse turn order, so how do we do that?
I do think that with all of that complexity and the finding out exactly what order to play things, the minutia of keeping your tracks where they need to be, one of my favorite things about this game is how much freedom you have in what you actually are doing. You could advance into a new tile, which is kind of like the end of an age or an era or milestone. Whenever you want, whenever you can afford it, you can just. I guess you have to have 2 in each spot.
No, 1 in each spot, 2 in each spot to end the game.
Okay. Or, when you're drawing, you have 3 different piles of cards. You can choose whatever pile you want to draw from. Your whole turn could be to discard one of the cards you have to draw from a different pile or the same pile. You have to spend a little money to do that. And then even when you are building buildings, besides like the specific utilities or some like the special action abilities, but when you're just playing a regular like resident or business or something, you get to like go look at the whole pile of all the polyominoes and figure out which one fits here, which one do I want to put there. And I really thought that was a fun mechanic that you really got to puzzle the polyominoes together. And it wasn't like, okay, well, this card gives me this shape of green and I need this shape of yellow.
Yeah,
there was
really
some
hard.
flexibility within that.
And you would want, like, you might even be like, we don't really care about this district that much, so just, we got to put an industrial space there, so just pick the biggest, clunkiest one and throw it in there, so that later on, when we're trying to fit in as many buildings as we can and score stuff, we're not trying to fit in these big, huge pieces. We save some of the small ones so we can sneak them in there a little bit, which is kind of weird, because do you ever, in real life, do cities ever say, like, yes, we'll approve you to build a residential area here, but it has to be shaped like a Tetris Z. That's all you can build it. That's it. That is the way we're going to give you that land. Nothing else. Can we rotate the Z? Yes, but you only have a couple seconds before it falls.
The unique buildings module that you add in actually does add unique buildings that are 1-to-1 per card. So you'll draw a card and be like, oh, you get to place the stadium, which is this one, or you get to place whatever this thing is. Can't tell from the look of it. But when you place those, they have really special effects that are, very catered to a certain thing. You have to like kind of build around it. Like with the stadium, if you bring more residents in, it's going to make everyone happy because they're like, oh, we have a stadium in our town. This is awesome. But if they're really far away, you're adding traffic as well because they're going to be happy about the stadium, but they also have to drive to the stadium now. So you're adding traffic if they're not in that same zone. So there's like very special things and rules that you have to abide by when you use the unique buildings. And some of them even help you. There's one that we built that at the end of every round we got to
Pitch a card, cycle a card for free, because that is a big part of it. So one of my big complaints with the game, I mean, I do overall enjoy the game, but probably my biggest complaint is that luck of the draw is a big factor. Because, like, again, all of these, this card I think it was bus station at one point. Like, we really need a bus station because this card will get us a bonus if we have a bus station. So will that, so will that, so will that. So we really don't want to play. We feel like we're losing out if we play these cards without there being a bus station on there. And there's one per deck. So we could just dig through this deck until we get that bus station. But if it's at the bottom of the deck, oh well, we just have to live with it. Now, these other things that we add, these unique buildings help us a lot, and the special player powers and all those types of things. And we were playing with all of those, and we even played on the beginner version where we started with the most amount of money we could start with, and still we like barely won.
Yeah.
But I'm all this to say that I almost want to recommend that you don't play the beginner game because you'll feel so constricted, and it might put a bad taste in your mouth for the game. I mean, it'll teach you the rules, but like we got locked out so quickly, because getting locked out is another way you can lose the game. You can lose the game by not making people happy enough, or you can lose the game by just simply not being able to play any cards. Well, this card would increase crime, and crime is maxed out. Or I want to play a card, but we're out of money. I can't even swap cards because that costs money. So, I don't know. I feel like the simpler the game is, the less fun it is, Yeah,
a lot of the stuff you adds not only variety to it, but it adds a lot of different things that can help you out in the gameplay. I do think overall, though, it was a really fun game. I think that co-ops should be really hard and tough to beat, but just like easy enough that you feel like there's hope. Like it crushes you and you're like, all right, let's do it again because this time we've got it. And I do like that there is a discard pile that you can kind of dig through, because with the luck of the draw, you are like burning through decks trying to find certain cards. But overall, I really did enjoy this game. I can't compare it to the video game that it's based upon, but if you like the idea of a co-op game where you're building a city and you're really planning it out with polyominoes and money and bunch of different tracks, slam dunk.
I do agree with Wes. I mean, again, I do enjoy the game. I don't want you to get the wrong idea from me, but, it was a very strange experience for me that, it's not often that the intro version of a game is more difficult than the advanced version. Again, the advanced version is more complex and different types of cards for you to know, but I think it's overall pretty easy for anybody to do that on their first playthrough. It is pretty unique, though. Like, honestly, I can't think of any other cooperative polyomino city building games out there. Like, and it is really cooperative. Like, you have open hands. Every decision is like, you're never just going to like, I'm going to do this and, just tough noogies. It's like, no, every decision matters. The order of every card matters. So you really feel like you guys come together a lot in order to make things happen in this game.
Well, yeah, even like I was going to build a building. I was like, oh, I'm going to use this building shape. And Wes like, no. I need that one for this card. And I was like, oh, I didn't even like, because there's so many cards out there. Like, it's really hard to be like the alpha player and be like, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this. Unless you've played it a lot. Like, I couldn't pay attention to all his cards and all my cards. I'm like, okay, I want to put this one out there. Which of these tiles will fit? Okay, this one will fit. And I was like, I'm going to use this one. But Wes like, no, I've been looking at that one. So, like, there is a lot of cooperation.
There actually is. This might be considered cheating, but I definitely did play with people where we were so worried about making everything fit perfectly that we took we knew we were going to play these 5 residential cards or whatever. So we went through all the polyominoes and fit them all in and then put like a piece of money on top of it. Like, okay, I'm going to play this card, which we'll say is this polyomino piece. Now you're playing that one? Okay, right, which is this one right here, which we already pre-fit in. You probably shouldn't do that.
But overall, it's a great cooperative game. It's definitely going to kick your butt a couple times. But that's what brings me back to cooperative games. I like, if I lose, I'm like, if you felt victory was attainable, you're like, okay, let's do it again. This time, we're gonna spend money differently. We're gonna, hopefully get a better draw of cards. Like, coming back at it and trying again and trying to be more strategic is always fun. I highly recommend this game. We're going to have a link in the description box down below where you can get yourself a copy.
And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
The first player token looks like the Twitter bird.